said, there are many people who are looking for jobs. There are people who have found jobs, but that's not the job they want to do. There are people who are studying courses, and in actual fact, they have zero interest in that particular field. But of course, they've been forced to do it, or that was the only available course because they needed an education. And at the moment, the statistics are not encouraging. In fact, when we look at the entire Africa, we're told that by 2030 or even by 2050, Africa will be home to the youngest population. And unfortunately, when it comes to unemployment rates in Africa as well, it is pretty high. And it's so high that unfortunately, a lot of experts are saying that what they're studying in school is really not what is preparing them from the job market. We have so much theory and very little practicals. And so a lot of people come out of school, and we're even churning out more people out of school, and yet the job market is taking just a small percentage of those people. Let's come now to Ghana and take a look at the statistics. And right behind me is a clear indication of what the challenge is. Now, it says that in 2020, the unemployment rate in Ghana was at approximately 4.53% of the total labor force. Now, this figure increased from 4.10% in 2019, and we're told that it's likely to even get to 5% very soon. And Ghana is faced with 12% youth unemployment and more than 50% underemployment. That is the problem. Now, just about a week ago, the Youth Employment Agency organized a job fair, and thousands of people thronged the venue. It almost resulted in a stampede. There were people who were bleeding at a point. There were pictures to show, and all because these people, both young and old, were looking for a job. Either they've been out of school for many years and cannot find a job, or they may have found a job, but they're asking for 3, 4, 5 years experience, which they do not have. Or some people lost their jobs during COVID-19 and are hoping that they can be selected for these roles that have been advertised by the YEA. Let's take a look at it. Alfred Okansi did a story on it. We'll come back and discuss.
Security had been beefed up after the scuffle on day one. Crowd control measures had been put in place this time round. The disappointment and the desperation that characterized the first day of the YEA job fair was quite evident on day two. Thousands of unemployed Ghanaians, both young and old, able persons and persons living with disabilities, thronged the Accra International Conference Center, hoping to secure one of the over 3,000 permanent jobs advertised for the Greater Accra region alone.
Within this year, I've been to several places. All I get is I will give you a call, they will give me a call, they will give me a call. Until now, I've not gotten anything. So I heard of this initiative, so I decided to come again and try my best here.
And it has been 4 years still trying to build myself. So with the 4 years, employment has been something that I think has been a difficult task, because I have a lots of friends from who has completed the university and still finding it so hard to get a job to do.
This job seeker, 40-year-old Isaac Dometic Kwabla, had a peculiar story.
I'm coming from Sutapo Agbeze.
Where is that?
A typical village in the Eastern region, where you have to take about 4 cars before you get there. I may say I am a teacher by profession. I came to Accra to do something. I was there and I was served a letter to go on retirement, that I was 60 years old and therefore I should go on retirement. And so I have decided to, if the years want me to go on retirement when my age is not due, then I am 39 years.
39.
December I'll be 40 years. But the data captured me to be born in 1961 instead of 81.
Questions have been raised about the sustainability and effectiveness of the process of employment, but Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Youth Employment Agency, Lydia Etiemo, had this to say.
With the youth bringing in their game, 3,000 jobs should be filled between yesterday and today.
And these are permanent jobs?
These are permanent jobs. And you see, that is the uniqueness of what we're looking to bring. We do have our 2-year jobs, which end up always not being permanent after.
The thousands of youth who turned up at this venue is a clear indication of the threat of the situation. Even though the COVID situation has exacerbated already rather worrying levels of unemployment in this country, this is just a symptom of the bigger problem of unemployment in the country. My name is Alfredo Conce, TV3 News, Accra International Conference Center.
Those were the pictures that characterized the YEA job fair last week, and unfortunately that some people had to bleed because they were struggling to get in. And these are both young and old people who are just looking for jobs. Mid-year budget review, the finance minister mentioned that government was going to create 1 million jobs for young people. In fact, they also announced the creation of the Youth Bank to provide some funds for young entrepreneurs in the country to either start their jobs or, continue invest in whatever it is that they have started. Is this one of the ways by which they're creating the jobs? And is this really addressing the problem that has existed for so long? FK Ado, Speaker FK Ado, is joining us this morning. He's a social policy and community development advocate and also a youth activist. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. Also in the studios next to Speaker is Miss Sylvia Chenebua Kodria. She's an LLB holder and also an executive certificate holder in security intelligence and forensic studies. Also a philanthropist, a blogger, a chef, an entrepreneur. She's the founder and CEO of Nyamame Foods. Wow. It's known on IG as Nyamame. Yes. How many cups do you want to wear? That's a whole lot. We'll get into why you settled on this, though. But Kofi Osei, also an interesting story because he studied agric technology in the university. So he has a BSc in agric technology and majored in animal science. He's an entrepreneur, by the way, and his company is called Adinkra Concepts. And you think that it's got to do with agric, right? No, he's into photography, beaded fashion accessories, clothing, footwear. He recently added Kodro Concepts, which is a woodworking business. Good morning to you. Tell me your story. I mean, from what you studied and what you're doing, they're two different things. How did that happen?
So with me, I believe everybody has to survive, and our paths may be different. Agric is a passion. It's something I really love. Okay. It's something I really enjoy doing. But when you get to the point where you have to make a decision, it's about survival, it's about progress, or you just have to wait and then the ministry calls you and then you send application letters around and everything. So I need to do something at that point. And I looked around and I realized that I could be making some decent money from doing these various stuff. I started with the beads. I started with photography and then I added the beads. And it was going good. It was going good. Okay. Everything was fine. I added fashion, kaftans, shirts.
Which is what you're wearing.
Yes,
you made it yourself.
Yes, I did.
I see.
So
it's nice.
Thank you. So we keep evolving. But when COVID set in, like it was a game changer for everybody. COVID is a game changer for everybody. Every industry was hit. And if you look at where I was, photography, bead making, fashion, these are things that were hit drastically because there were no events. Who are you going to shoot? People buy beads and other stuff out of excesses. It's not a necessity. So it wasn't coming in. Kaftans are not going out. People are not going for weddings. People are not getting married. There are no social events. You can basically do nothing. So I was like, I have this passion for woodwork as well. I have a lot of passions. Like people say, so what's actually your passion? Yeah. My passion is to make decent money. You're
very creative with the hands.
Yes, that is my passion. So I was like, why don't I just keep doing this woodwork thing? I used to do it on low key, nobody knows about it. And I was like, okay, let me get this done. So just before the lockdown, a friend contracted me to get a bed for him. Okay. And then I did the bed and it was a one-off. I thought like, yo, I'm done.
I can do this.
Yes, so let me just get going.
But you got a job offer when you finished school, did you not?
Yes, I did. But
for what you studied?
Yes, but it wasn't concrete. You get it. After service with Cocoa Board, you are asked to stay and then let's see what happens. But let's see what happens, there's no certainty. And I had moved from Accra to Kumasi to do my service. Okay. So if I was getting the job, I think there was a time I called the guy in charge and I was like, boss, am I getting the job or you have to see what you do? It's like, we have to work around it. And I'm like, no, I'm not taking it. I have to go.
So you decided to go into entrepreneurship,
because I can't keep my hopes up when there's nothing concrete going to come out from that. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go. Came to Accra and it's been good since. Yeah. It has its ups and downs, but it's been good.
Sylvia, so you hold an LLB.
Yes.
You are cooking.
Yes.
Why?
I actually started cooking when I was in level 200.
Okay.
It's not because I was not getting a job.
Okay.
I have never searched for a job.
Oh, ever?
No, I have never done
You made up your mind never to look for a job?
Yes, right from level 200, I decided not to work for anybody.
Why?
My parents are entrepreneurs. They've never been employed anywhere. So I come from that family. And I think I'm the only child in there who wants to also make it on my own.
Why did you go and study? You have an executive certificate in security, intelligence, and forensic studies. And speaking of security, we have Mr. Richard Kumado who's joining us, and he is a security expert. We've missed you on the show, Mr. Richard Kumado. Good to see you. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm enjoying it.
Please, there's a young lady here who studied something in relation to what you do, and she's not using it. We had to sue her for it. And she understands law too, so even better, we'll use it against you. But yeah, why did you study these? Could you not have done some entrepreneurship course or something in line with what you were interested in?
No, I actually have interest in law.
Okay.
And security too.
You do?
So I just got into it. Maybe one day I'll work with it. I haven't taken my bar exam yet.
Okay,
so
you're waiting.
I'll take it. When I take it and I enter, yes. But I will never stop
cooking
or being in entrepreneurship because
I'm also into two gods, can you?
I can. I'm somebody who knows how to multitask. Like,
okay.
That's one of my gifts, so that's okay for me. Sometimes I wouldn't have to be there myself. Let's say with the restaurant, I'm also into home decor. I can just employ people to help me with it, so it doesn't need my...
You don't have did you have any fear at all? Aside the fact that you grew up with parents who were entrepreneurs, did you have any fears of looking for a job and not finding?
No. I remember that when we were about to finish or like complete our NSS, and I went on TikTok and Twitter, I laughed a lot because people were making TikToks of how they're going to be unemployed by next week and all that. And trust me, I was never in that. I never felt any pressure. I just couldn't relate because I have never ever made up my mind to go in there.
Okay, let me bring Speaker in because for these young people, I mean, for him, he says that I had to survive because I couldn't keep waiting for Nyamebeye. In her case, she grew up in that space, so it was easy for her to also start her business. They're lucky. But there are many people who are out there who for many years got out of school and can't find a job. One party comes to power and says, we will create these number of jobs. The next party comes and says, we even outdid the previous government. In fact, there was a banter between the NPP and NDC. NPP has said they created 2 million jobs for young people. NDC said, we created 1 million jobs. And I remember this so well, it was just before elections.
Exactly.
And yet, YEA advertises for a job. Even before YEA, you remember that the military also was enrolling people, and we saw a queue so long it was unbelievable. All these young people are there, they don't have jobs, and yet we have parties who are saying, we created 2 million, we've done this and that. Are we really addressing the problem?
We are not addressing the problem. Knee-jerk approaches, fire service approach to all these things.
Oh, why do you say fire service approach?
It's fire service approach. So as and when it suits a political party, I will praise them for efforts being done, or efforts that have been done over the years since we entered into the Fourth Republic. But Bella, to be honest with ourselves as citizens and as a country, we must know that there isn't any clear-cut plan, policy on employment that we are rolling in people either in the government sector or even private sector. The notion of private sector is the engine of growth. Bella, you and I know very well that for the private sector to thrive, it's dependent on the regulator, that is the government, dependent on the policy initiatives that the government puts in place. And these policies are hinged on political ideologies. So whether you're a capitalist or you're a socialist, it depends on how you are feeding into it. There isn't any already existing plug-ins that when an individual completes school, you just go in and say that this is where I studied, this is my interest, as they all have special interests, and academically they also excel. But then again, look at it at the general front. Is there any already existing plug-in that immediately I complete school, I know very well that should I take my certificate to this industry, there's already job waiting for me, like in the 70s, in the early 80s, whereby people are even poached from University of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, and then the rest of them. Before you complete, there is job waiting for you. So the government over all these years have not been able to put together sustainable plans that will transcend beyond any other government. So previously we have the JIDA, now turned to YE, now came to this. Now we have the NYEPD where John Kuma was heading. John Kuma was heading. Now we have the National Youth Authority. NEIP, sorry. NEYP. Bella, initially we had youth in pothole patching. We had youth in... We had youth in pothole patching. Of course. It was a model under the JIDA. Youth in ICT, where Agambera or the RLG guy came RLG, in. Yes. Listen, Bella, the bottom line is that how sustainable have all these initiatives? They are fantastic. But immediately you know that a government leaves power, those initiatives go down. Now we have, what do you call it? These youth who have been employed recently, that NAPCO. NAPCO, yes. They said they created about 100,000 jobs. Just about. It's about 90 something thousand. But then I love the initiative. It's fantastic. Most of them are out there demanding for their allowances. How sustainable are these? Looking at somebody who trained in a specific academic area, then you go and put the person in a different area where the person doesn't even have any idea. You don't even train for skills on the job. Now it depends on whether you are sustaining yourself for the first 4 years, next 8 years, or you are breaking the 8, you are coming back. That depends on how you are going to continue it. Initial governments have done a lot, but to be honest with ourselves, Bella, we have not been able to address the critical issue of government putting up a plan that is led by all inclusive, whether NDC, whether NPP, CPP, let us all come together and know that this is the direction we are taking for the next 10 years. We are building institutions to be able to train these people. And the next 20 years, we are building factories that are going to feed into it. In your initial preamble, you clearly indicated that there is a misfit. Academia is disjointed from industry. I took a course recently, and Bella, you marvel as to the sort of definitions 1980-something, 1940-something, definitions that are irrelevant. And now things are moving on. Cybersecurity, our boss will be best fit to speak on those things. How well have we been able to incorporate some of this new knowledge, new culture, new way of doing things, and refining and reviewing our curriculum? So people go there and say, I'm going to study humanities. You come out and there is nothing, you don't fit for the jobs. People have been bank tellers, transitional jobs, bank tellers, shop attendants, and some few of them which are transitional. People are there and they are going on retirement on those ones. Where is the space to create for the younger ones to be able to fit into it? Is it because our educational system is more theoretical than practical? That is the foundation. And that is why I had a problem with the rebranding and renaming of technical polytechnics into technical universities. It doesn't change anything. What it does is that it's just giving you a face name so that everybody knows that, oh, now it's no more HND. I'm also equivalent to degree holders. Then you just rubbing shoulder. But as to the technical aspect, today, we are bringing people from Togo to come and fix POP in Ghana here. Why is it that we don't train people in our polytechnics? People are doing electronic engineering, whatever engineering, but we are here, as and now. We are cracking cocoa with machete. While people the Chinese have upgraded. They've upgraded and they are now even farming for cocoa. So it means that sometimes we don't look at what industry is demanding for us to be able to train people so that when they come out, they just fit and there's a serious plug in. There.
Let me bring Richard in. Sorry for keeping you waiting, but if you look at the statistics again, it says that sub-Saharan Africa, so yearly we churn out about 11 million graduates, and yet the job market can only absorb just about 3.7 or 3.4% of these people. World Bank says that for a lot of the people who join, the Al-Qaedas and all these movements, about 40% of them, it's because there's no ready job for them. And that is why they join these. In Ghana, we've been told by security experts, yourself inclusive, that the reason why, insecurity is increasing at such a high rate is because of unemployment. Tell us a bit more about how that affects young people, because clearly, if you look at that video of all those young people who are trying to get jobs, there are a lot of them with a mentality that we may all be attending this job fair, but they already know who they selected. And already that is a defeatist mentality. But you can't help it because in some instances, it's true that there are some people who already have these jobs. So can you blame them if they tend to get into all these other trades, armed robbery and stuff, because they can't find jobs?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the show. This is some of the creative ways of creating jobs. Don't just say it like we are putting people together on this particular show. For instance, the young man close to you and my sister in forensic, I'm extending a full scholarship to my sister in the forensic to come and study private security, private intelligence, and private investigation with us. And she will be fine. For some of us, we've seen this one. I resigned from a banking job. I left the BNI. I have worked at Labor Department before, and I saw the vibrancy of what was going on in the industry. The idleness of what we are seeing is the threat to national security, because there's a direct correlation between unemployed, idleness, and insecurity in various countries. And the level of the numbers we are having as unemployed people, if it is not properly managed and energies are channeled into productive activity, definitely the levels of crime is going to go up, and it's likely to create national security issues for us.
But government says they are creating interventions, which is why they have NAPCO, they have the YEA job fair recently. They are hoping to employ some thousands of young people because there are opportunities in various fields. And so they are doing their best. In fact, they said they'll create 1 million jobs, in this second term. YEA says by 2024, we'll be able to achieve that. So government says we're doing what we can to ensure that young people are employed.
Definitely, Bella. My brother, the speaker, has spoken extensively on the artificial nature of government employment initiatives we have in this country. Our governments and national leaders are not focused. They are not proactive enough, and they lack credibility and creativity. Me, who have left to empower young people, 2 months ago, we have trained and graduated over 240 private investigators across the group. And this year alone, we've done about 500, and they are all over the world. We want to create jobs for them. We have initiated a program for Progressive Youth Network to teach people how to be on their own, just like the people you have in the studio have done. And these are young people. When you align that to what government have done over the years, you realize that there are simple policies government could bring out that could redefine skills development, that could bring about retraining, that could bring about competitiveness to our youth. And many of the youth out there, if you should put 10 of them in your studio and talk to them as many of the things you do outside what you do in the front line as a media person, their perception and the energies could have been channeled into many things that would have helped us. Now, when you bring in politics, the nature of politics in Ghana and across Africa is that it's so divisive and non-productive and distracting. So when you align people on the political line, NDC and NPP comes in, and instead of putting their energies together in a productive activity, they begin to disagree on petty things. That is where we are. And forget about government saying they've created a job. Where are the jobs? When you created the jobs, our people should not be out there in the military paying 10,000 to enter into the military. When I was going to the BNI, we were about 3,000 who started the process. After 3 years of background check, they pick only 5 of us.
Only 5?
You are not doing background check. Yes, only 5 of us.
Out of what? 3,000?
Exactly. That is how straight it was. In the days of President Rawlings, and today I have become a national asset, not just Ghana, but across the globe. I just came from Zambia for their elections. I'm going to Gambia again for another election, to ensure that there's peace and security and economic vibrancy on the African continent. What are we doing? You are charging people 10,000 to put them through airwork, and once they don't get a job, they feel society is against them, and they come after us in the middle of the night. You prepare a job fair where people know there are no jobs to be given, and they are collecting money to travel all over the place. I think the knee-jerk approach and the artificial nature of what we are doing, we need to rethink our development strategy again. That's the only way we can go.
Hold on, this time around, things might be a little different, because the YEA bosses and the organizers said that there's a reason why they roped in the private sector in this particular job fair. And that's because, of course, the private sector hires more people. The private sector has already said that the reason why things don't pan out the way they expect is because they don't have the enabling environment to and roll a lot of these people onto their platforms. Do you think that that has been created at this point, which is why YEA is working hand in hand with the private sector now to employ these people?
There are two issues here. You look at the cost of capital in this country and all other factors of production. It's affecting the manufacturing center, the production sector to expand. And once they are not expanding, they are not creating enough room for many more hands to be employed. You remember those days we have something they call Empretech. Empretech was a typical example for my brother closer to you and my sister who has been into cooking, that they are entrepreneurs who have been brought up, put together, stretch them out, and the best come out of them. I can understand when we created a ministry for development, a business development or something.
But that, they say they have achieved their mandate now. So
what was the mandate? They don't know what they are doing. It was so freaky and artificial. And guess what? I saw a lady at the fair when I got there, and she told me, Richard, I have to go through about 10,000 CVs in order to get one that was properly done.
Wow.
And as somebody who has worked in labor department before and has attended job fairs in London, I knew how these things work. Preparing CV from our universities is a problem. You are teaching courses that are so archaic, and industry and academia has no linkage. It has always been about fight, and the fight there is more than even NDC and NPP. Sister, what I'm just saying is that we are doing something, we say it is good, but let's sit back and see where we are getting it from, let's enhance it. Where we are doing well, let's promote it. And let our young people begin to engage. People are not getting married because they are not getting jobs. People are not getting married because they don't know where they are finishing university. The courses they are studying is not productive enough. And when they come to industry takes so long to train them. And nobody is ready to waste so much time training somebody who has claimed to finish university. They cannot even write a basic report. My heart breaks, and I'm happy for the young woman. And I'm giving her a scholarship anyway. She should get in touch. And
Richard, because of this, I'm going to study security too. I need a scholarship. But I have a job. I'm not married yet. So, I mean, it's not exactly. but let's talk about the fact that the YEA says that they are going to provide CV writing skills and other skills as well to enable these people to write reports and all of that. So they had a whole booth for that.
I mean,
so they are supporting them.
This should be incorporated within the curriculum in a secondary, even secondary school. You should start building some of these people.
But CV writing, did you not learn it in primary or JSS?
No. It's about myself. You learn to write myself. And then the letter and all these things
are taught.
They are taught in primary school and junior high school.
The problem is that do people take them seriously?
So is it more the students or it is now the teachers?
When we try to it is a very thin line which becomes a little political and it becomes a little insensitive. Whilst we blame government, let's blame the citizens as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Most young people are not ready to be employed. Let's face the fact.
They're not ready?
Yes.
Why do you say so?
Yeah, let me tell you this. So in my woodwork business, right, my carpenter takes home 120 cedis every day. Multiply that by 20 working days. How much is that?
Let me calculate.
Do that online.
I like money. Is it tax-free, by the way, right?
Tax-free.
Hey, GRA will come after you.
They should come.
You're making the law. Wait, 120 times what? Let's say 31. Oh, why is it not typing 120?
120, yes, by 20 days.
20 days?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, 2,400 cedis.
Yes. When you tell about half of the people that went to the NYEP thing to come work and take 2,000 cedis every month, they will start thinking about, when am I going to buy a car? When am I going to get this? When am I going to get that?
Bella, YEA is giving about 350 Ghana cedis.
That is the whole point.
Lowest is 180.
You see, the perception is that you're a carpenter.
No, YEA.
YEA, NAPCO, the perception is that you're a carpenter. I don't want to be a carpenter. I want to be like Bella. I want to be on TV. There's this glamorized thing that makes everybody feel like, yo, echo yesa. But it's not the reality.
Easy. Yeah.
I saw one young man say, I didn't see him say it. I read it, that if he's paid anything less than 2,000 cedis,
he won't take it.
He won't take the job.
Yeah,
I was like,
two guys.
I was like, wow.
They said they won't take it. First degree.
Like, wow, this guy, you're serious.
First degree in this Ghana.
You see, that is the reality. I like people who face facts as what it is. You want to start working in Ghana, you're unemployed, and you're thinking of 2,000 for a start. Look at the people you see, the picture is not so clear to a lot of them, and it hurts me a lot because they see the glamour. All of a sudden, some guy booms up and, hey, he's a rich man. What did he do? Nobody knows. Nobody cares. He's just rich. That is what people are after. He doesn't want to go do that job that will pay him 400 cedis. Bella, I know people who worked. I have a friend, right? He was selling SIM cards after school. He's a big man now. I just don't want to mention his name.
After degree.
After degree. And everybody knows it.
But you see, not everybody can be an entrepreneur, and that's a point I need to put across. Because you may have tried, and you succeeded. If I try, I may not succeed because I'm better working maybe, you know, in a regimented office and all of that. So for me, what you're saying may not apply to me, and that's why I'm looking for a job.
Yes.
So Bella, this is the point. If you are looking for a job, like I said, the first thing for every human should be survival. I want to get into TV3, but as it stands now, there's no job available. What do I do before I get to TV3? Let's face the fact here. Previous governments, like he said, everybody comes with a plan. Oh, I have done this. Oh, I have brought 1 million, NDC 2 million, MPP 3 million. Every day they are just numbers. But we cannot face the fact. We cannot point to, okay, this work or that work. What are we doing to bridge the gap? Do we have a focused plan? Like he said, Roland Agambiri, RLG. I think he was setting up, was it Hope City or something?
Yeah.
Yes, and it looked good and everything. All of a sudden, we didn't hear anything about it again. Now MPP has come. NAPCO, we're enrolling people. I heard there are grievances about salaries and all that. It's not coming in. The moment, I'm not a doom monger, right? But the moment party changes, NAPCO becomes a thing of the past. Can we stay focused? Can we have a plan? Okay, this is what we are doing. Devoid of, and you see, I think one of the basic problems is that whenever there's a change of power, there's a change of leadership, there's a change of plan and everything. So Bella is the head of NYEP, whatever.
NEIP.
Yes, and then you are there. The moment the next party comes, Bella move. Maybe Bella had that plan that was going to take us 10 years, 20 years. Why should it be political?
I get what you mean. Sylvia, let me bring you in here because you know I had mentioned earlier why you did not study entrepreneurship if you're interested in what you're doing. But we have those courses. Have we taken advantage of it? And I'm talking about, you know, us as a government, everybody inclusive. Have we focused a bit more on educating people on entrepreneurship? Because maybe that way we won't be sitting here and be saying that someone is cut for entrepreneurship and someone else is not, because we'd have taught them the basics at least so they can start a business and run it.
I think the whole problem starts from the womb. When I say the womb, when a baby is in her mom's womb, I'll say her because I'm a lady.
Yeah.
The father and the mother will be like, go up and become a doctor, become a lawyer. They are all preaching the white-collar job on that kid. And if you look at our school system, it's more like it's training people to become employers and employees.
And pass exams.
And pass exams. And this one is actually has the first position and the second position.
First class is more important to many people than...
So our education system is not skill-based. So right from the onset, there is a problem. And people think failures or dumb people go into the skill sector, and they are those who are trying to learn a skill. So when somebody hears that I'm cooking, the person doesn't know that I have read LLB, I've done this. The person will be like, maybe she's dumb. That's why she's cooking.
Yes.
Somebody is into carpentry. Maybe he's dumb. Somebody is into hairdressing. But when I go to schools, you know, I work with women in entrepreneurship Ghana. When we go to schools, I preach to the kids that it is very good for you to start something on your own by being part of the vocational courses. And when you go to schools, these people in the home economics and visual arts are seen as the dumbest students.
Yeah, we're all guilty. We used to laugh at them.
Yes.
I had to call them clay and
you
stone
see?
or something.
So
Forgive me for that, guys.
I went to one secondary school the other time, and this girl walked up to me and she was crying. The reason is she's been maltreated at home. Why? Because she's reading home economics.
Oh.
And she's supposed to buy some stuff for practicals, and her parents are not buying it for her. And they're asking her that, hasn't she seen the rest of her siblings offering science and general arts? And she's there to, she's the black sheep of the family and all that. And I think it's from our parents. It's from the society. Our parents who keep, let's say, have you seen Auntie Mansa's son?
Comparisons,
They'll be comparing here and there. So I think even if there are some courses in there to help, people are not encouraged. Nothing pushes anybody to go and take those courses. And I don't even know those courses. They are not, they've not mentioned them to us. They've not told us about it. They've not promoted it.
Yeah.
Because if you ask the average Ghanaian that what are the entrepreneurship and all those courses, they can't even mention one. All that they know is medicine and law.
For some people, it's just a one semester course, and then you're done and you move on. And even that, they just brush over it, and that's about it. Let me bring you in, Speaker, because at this point, we need to find a solution. Where lies the solution?
The solution lies at our basic unit of our political governance structure, that is the district MMDCs. They are mandated to be the ones to take charge of that basic unit over there. Not just to be superintendent over political activities, but to decide over there and say that this is what we want to do. I think local government economic development plan put together by the Ministry of Employment some years ago, Ministry of Agric some years ago. If MMDCs are well poised and well positioned for those positions that they occupy, they are supposed to put together a plan of action that will build the capacity of people, that will create opportunities for the people at the local level, that will also expose them to the international market. Whether you are skill-based, whether you are literature-based or whichever, it is exposing you. Now, what are they doing? They are building the economy of the basic unit, that is the district assemblies, so that if someone is in Bunkrubu Yoyo, that person wouldn't come to Accra to come and carry loads and come and hustle in Accra here. If the districts are well developed, Bella, I believe that will be the basic and the very best thing. So I'm employing all these people. The local government, I like it. I mean, we have the Local Government Act, 2000, Act 936, and it is stipulated that the roles and responsibilities of all these MMDCs is to be able to put together economic plans. Have we ever interviewed any MMDC here and he has told you that I'll put together an economic plan and this is my plan of action for the next 4 years?
He's answerable to the president, unfortunately, and so, you know, he's at the beck and call of the president in most cases. But that's all time will allow for. Thank you so much for speaking to us. By the way, just drop your handles quickly, please, so we can go, because you run business. So,
on Facebook, on Instagram.
All right, Sylvia.
Women in Entrepreneurship _Ghana on Instagram, and Noah, NOA_MA_ME.
Okay,
Noah Mami.
That's your cooking. I need to try it.
So that's all social media platform. Social media.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a very enlightening conversation. Speaker FK Ado is a social policy and community development advocate and a youth activist, and also Kofi Osei is currently the CEO of Adinkra Concepts and Photography, Beaded Fashion Accessories, and also Crodro Concepts, which is a woodworking business. And Sylvia Trenebua Kodria, she runs Nyamami Foods and also is a founder of God Here on Earth Foundation